Hi, I'm Leigh Page. I'm the Operations Director at St Albans City Football Club. I'm also the club's COVID officer with all responsibility for COVID protocols. As a club, we started looking at testing back in September before the season actually started, and we got involved with a local company to start looking at the possibility of not just testing our staff but actually testing everyone that was due to come into the stadium before we went to behind closed doors. But we're at a stage now where we test all of our playing and non-playing staff, in essence, twice a week. This is predominantly as part of our overall protocols. It's our first layer of defence, but it's a number of layers of defence we have to try and stop COVID coming into the squad. And for me, we found them very useful because in the very early days, we were able to give confidence to our players that actually COVID wasn't in the squad, but also we had to put the club into a shutdown for a period because we identified four individuals that were asymptomatic but actually positive. And the advantage with these tests, all of them were then further confirmed with PCR tests. So the lateral flow for me is a quick mechanism, but it's one of our layers of defence that can quickly identify whether a member of staff is symptomatic or not. And although the tests really are there just to say whether someone's positive, the other layers of defence we have should then help anyone that gets through that first layer of defence. Our other layers should then help prevent any spread within the club. When we first sat down in September, we were concerned around, were the tests accurate? And the company we're involved with produced the evidence to say that they're, very high degrees of certainty around positive tests. As an early warning sign to identify someone that's positive, it is a very, very quick and simple way to do it. But it is still part of the overall protocols we have, not the one and only thing we do. The club has done probably in excess of 1,000 tests so far. And the first time that we were aware of COVID being within the club was because of the tests. That part last year, we identified 4 individuals that were asymptomatic but positive through the lateral flow tests, but they had no symptoms at all, which is why they were asymptomatic. So again, for me, it's a great early warning system to identify people that have no symptoms, have no temperatures, have none of the classic signs, but have the disease and are able to spread it, and to try and put that early barrier in to help all of our other protocols to defend the wider members of the squad. If one of our players, one of our members of staff, tests positive through our lateral flow tests, they all have to go and get a PCR test to confirm it. One is because we want them to follow the full NHS process and make sure that they are doing the full track and trace. And secondly, it was efficacy to ensure that the tests were correct. And every positive test we've had through lateral flow has been confirmed with the PCR test. Continuous testing allows us to ensure that no one that is spreading the disease is getting into the squad. So actually, we know how terrible this disease is. We've experienced it firsthand at the club, and actually to try and stop it coming in the first place is the most vital thing we can do. All of our other protocols are there to help stop the spread, but actually if we can stop it coming in the first place, that is the most vital thing we can do. And the 2 ways that we can do that, one is by managing the symptoms of our players, and 2 is by testing them. The attitude of everyone that's been taking the test has been fantastic. The tests, to be honest, aren't that pleasant. You're having to put something in your mouth and in your nose. But it was difficult at first because it was new for everyone. But actually it's just now become part of our routine, that it's something we do regularly. So the great advantage of these tests are probably three key elements. It's the speed of the test. So actually we get the results within 15 minutes. It's the simplicity of carrying out the test, and actually they're relatively lightweight. So everything comes in less than a handful and weighs nothing. So actually for me it's the logistics, the speed and the reliability are probably the 3 most important things. So actually we can do it regularly. That's the advantage against the PCR test, where we may have to wait 3 or 4 days for a result. We get the result within 15 minutes. And for the way that we operate as a club, the quick speed is probably the most important thing to us.